President, dear colleagues, my name is Senator Stella Oduah and I represent Anambra North. Mr. President, dear colleagues, I want to thank the movers of this motion. Mr. President, the problem with our pipeline and why they explode the way they explode is nothing but negligence. And let me start by saying, in pipeline management today in NNPC, it's in total comatose. And one will wonder, why is that so? About 30 years ago, Mr. President, when NNPC was doing restructuring, the intent of that restructuring is to professionalize NNPC. And in doing that is to focus people and professionals to make sure that expertise and priorities are given to where it should be given to. And so PPMC was divided into two: products different, and then pipeline management different. Mr. President, there are some pipelines that for the past 35 years, they have not been changed, neither have they been maintained. And when you don't do that, every pipeline has a lifespan. And so the law says, supported by the policy, that after a particular number of years, those pipelines need to be removed and replaced. And in doing so, the integrity of the pipeline is sustained. The reasons for all that is safety, 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 to ensure that preventable explosions are stopped from reoccurring. But Mr. President, PPMC has taken away the focus from pipeline maintenance, because what everybody focuses on is product. But we forgot that the goose that lays the golden egg is the pipeline itself. And it's actually wrong that it's about Niger Delta. Pipeline network in Nigeria, we should actually make effort to look at it. It crosses across several states, because you pump from Calabar to the north, you pump from the west to the north, you pump from everywhere. And so the explosion can happen anywhere at any time. The safety rule that is the global best practice says that 100 kilometers from where a pipeline is laid should not be occupied and should not be tampered with. 100 meters, sorry. But none of this is being maintained as we speak. And so, Mr. President, the fundamental cause of what we are debating today is the fact that we have lost focus on what is important as regards to product movement and pipeline explosion. When the pipe is weak, it's easier for a knife or an axe to cut the pipeline. And so those young people stealing product from the pipeline, it makes it easier for them and dangerous as well. Mr. President, there is also a law and a policy, global best practice, that within interval of all pipelines laid, there must be medical intervention personnel whose responsibility is to ensure that if and when explosion does occur, they will come to the rescue. And so death is minimized. That is gone to comatose. And I think it's important that if anything will come out of this motion, it is to emphasize to NNPC the need to go back to the pipeline laws and ensure implementation of those laws. That preventable explosion can stop, that safety personnel must be there. And finally, Mr. President, The law also says that within 5 kilometers of every pipeline laid, there must be a signal. This signal tells them at the remote office when there is tampering or interference along the pipeline. And so rescue measures are being sent when that happens. Mr. President, I want to support this bill, this motion. I think it's very important. It's time bomb waiting to happen, not just in Niger Delta, but all over Nigeria if nothing is done. We must create pipeline maintenance department within NNPC, whose focus should be to ensure that pipelines are maintained and they are changed when the time comes, and indeed professionals, pipeline engineers are employed and deployed to these areas. Mr. President, I so submit. Thank you.
Senator Yusuf.